Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. Today, we're going to talk about crap. The version of crap that we often talk about in this community. How we can hand our power away with the fears of being criticized, rejected, abandoned, and punished. This is a terrible human problem that all people who get taken in by narcissists suffer from. And these fears make us huge, big, glowing targets for narcissists. Today, we're going to learn how these traumas are derailing our ability to be impervious to narcissists. And I promise you, when you clean these fears up, narcissists can't and won't target you. It just won't be possible. Okay, so before we get started, I want to say how grateful I am to all my existing and new subscribers for supporting the Thriver mission. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. All right, so let's move into this episode. All right, I want to start by talking about how we get set up for this. I want to share with you this story about Megan, because her story is a lot of people's stories. As a little girl, Megan had a dominating, non-available mother, and when Megan asked her mother for something, her mother told her not to interrupt her while she was doing the housework. When Megan's mother asked Megan for something and Megan didn't automatically comply, she yelled at her or would smack her. Megan worked for Henry as an adult, and Henry told Megan she needed to work back late. He granted her no extra pay for this, and as his personal secretary, he was incredibly demanding of her, unreasonably, and when anything went wrong, she got the blame. Henry, as you probably guessed, was a narcissist. Megan was exhausted, her health wasn't great, and she had no social life whatsoever. When Megan felt upset or angry with Henry's demands, she imagined what she wanted to say, but she couldn't even formulate what that might be. When she felt into saying something to him and standing up for herself, her brain went to mush, and she felt like there was a terrible, anxious feeling inside of her. It felt unthinkable to try to stand up for her rights. And the truth was, inside her, it literally felt terrifying. When Megan told her friend Cindy what was going on, Cindy told her she was being treated atrociously and she needed to do something. Yet Megan had every excuse why she couldn't speak up and shouldn't risk it. Megan was stuck in the programs of, if I try to have my own rights, I'll be criticized or punished. And she actually felt the terror of annihilation if she tried to assert herself. Then there was Donald. As a baby, his mother was a fall-down drunk, a single mother who would pass out and leave him crying for hours unattended. Donald struggled to maintain love relationships as an adult. In his current relationship with Amanda, she demanded more and more from him, and she had absolutely no consideration for Donald's needs. The truth is, Donald never asked for what he needed or wanted. Whenever he thought about saying something to Amanda about her unfair treatment and exploitation of his time, effort, and money, he felt like she wouldn't hear him, and she may even leave him. He really believed he had to try to keep her happy to have this relationship, even though this was proving to be a bottomless pit. Donald's inner subconscious programming went like this: if I need something from people, I will be abandoned. For all of us as little people, if we didn't make the transitions into being whole, healthy adults, who know it's healthy to connect to our values and truths, speak up and share our truths and values, and be worthy enough to have them fulfilled by healthy people and aspects of life, we will not have the inner subconscious beliefs to know, I am of worth and value to myself, and therefore I have the right to honor me. And if people don't value my values, boundaries, or self, by criticizing, rejecting, abandoning, or punishing me, then they are not a match for me, and I'll let go and I'll move on and I'll generate healthier realities. And people don't treat me how I treat them. They treat me as per the beliefs and power I have anchored into myself. When I get clear and clean on the inside regarding my worth, power and truth, then all of life force will support these beliefs, just as I support myself in them. Megan, she was my client. She came for Quarter Freedom Healings in relation to her pounding migraines. That's why she came. And this was about the trauma trapped inside her, getting her attention to turn inwards and heal herself. The traumas were about being abused, which was a replay of the unhealed trauma from childhood regarding her mother's abuse of her. And this is the thing. The trauma energy we still have stuck inside us from our past creates beliefs that then play out to the letter. Bosses can absolutely serve up the same patterns as parents in our life, as authority figures who we feel dependent on for our survival. That's until we become a healthy source to self. So in session in a Quantum Freedom Healing with me, Megan deeply connected and understood nothing changes if nothing changes. That if she stayed with Henry making excuses and did nothing, that her trauma would further compound and she would continue disintegrating. The only way out was to face this and deal with this in real time, in real life. She needed to lay boundaries, and then if he couldn't meet her healthily, walk away and get another job. Knowing this was her goal, then it was time to confront the traumas that were not allowing her to powerfully do what she needed to do. When we turn inwards and target the trauma relating to whatever we need to heal, we can get quite a shock as to what and how much may be there. Then we realize it's no wonder this has been so difficult. The subconscious is the keeper of all knowledge and energy, and our body wisdom that gets revealed is fascinating and it's accurate when we go inwards and we start working with it. Megan had multiple traumas wedged in her subconscious, such as female collective pain body trauma, as a woman, I have no rights, and past life traumas of, if I speak up, I'll be put to death. And these were only the tip of the iceberg. There was many more. As well as traumas that she'd taken on genetically from ancestors about not having a voice or rights. It was no surprise that all of this trauma being in Megan's energy field in her DNA makeup pre-birth, that she'd been born smack bang into an environment where, again, she had no voice and no rights with her mother. That's what happens. Our traumas continue. So we can see the continuation on Megan's timeline of being locked into these beliefs and playing them out with prominent people in her life. This was Megan's pattern with her two previous husbands as well. So when these traumas were released and Source brought in to transform them, then Megan came back to her true self state, which we all are without our traumas and our false beliefs. She became a being who was anchored in having worth and rights and a voice. She also knew that Source had her back when she was authentically herself, because she was Source, true self. So she requested bravely a meeting with Henry and his boss, the three of them together. She directly and truthfully spoke about her concerns and what wasn't working for her and what she required to continue working for Henry in this meeting. Megan had gone quantum with this. She knew, as a generative source of my own experience, all will unfold for the highest and best good that will match me and support me no matter how this goes. She had no concern whatsoever about how this would turn out. She was just truly invested in evolving herself and breaking out of this terrible pattern of handing her power away and being abused that had been plaguing her for lifetimes. In the meeting, Henry unraveled, as narcissists do when exposed with a whopping great light of truth. he was exposed to the big boss behaving like this. Megan was relieved of her duty with Henry by the big boss, and she was granted another position in the firm that was higher pay and much better conditions. And this turned out to be her dream job. That's the power of life supporting us in the most miraculous ways when we support ourselves with quantum evolution from the inside out. Donald was doing the NARP program, and he had a couple of healing sessions with me after realizing that Amanda was a narcissist who was destroying him. When targeting the traumas that were not allowing him to honor himself, the subconscious trauma of being a baby abandoned appeared. And as always, these abandonment traumas run deeper. It was even through previous pre-birth trauma experiences and genetically acquired beliefs, all amounting to the people I love leave me to die. Literally, that's what his belief was. And if I give them everything they need, then they may never leave me. So this had played out to the letter with Donald's mother and love partners. He never dared put any pressure on them for his needs. And he gave despite their terrible emotional treatment of him. So after clearing these traumas of being abandoned, he graduated within himself into new and powerful true self-beliefs on this topic. And he then knew he couldn't care less if Amanda abandoned him or not, because as a self-generative source of his own experience, no more was Donald ever going to abandon himself. So he laid it on the line to Amanda about who he was and what he needed to continue the relationship with her. And she did what narcissists do. She unraveled, twisted, turned. She blamed through, she name-called, she insulted. And then when he refused to hook in and argue and he was walking out the door, she launched at him and started hitting him. Donald left. And then later he came and picked up his stuff. He was finished with her. Then Amanda pleaded and begged in emails and text messages. He blocked her and he never looked back. No more was this woman a match for his previous love code of being with totally self-absorbed people who had no consideration for him whatsoever. Donald, true to form, after his shift off the painful love code to a healthy one, had zero attachment, addiction, or attraction to Amanda anymore. For all of us who do this inner work, it becomes unthinkable to be with these people anymore. Within 6 months, Donald was in a relationship with a lovely lady, Becky, who he has rights with and a voice with. Becky cares for and loves him. For the first time, probably for lifetimes, Donald resolved his previous self and he reached a love trajectory like this. So let me outline for you the total steps on how to do this, how to up-level out of crap. First of all, know we have to change ourselves on the inside to make a change. Face within the traumas that are not allowing you to step up, stand up, confront and generate what you need to. Because you need to understand, if you just walk away without doing this, you will be presented again with exactly the same pattern and opportunity to up-level. Know that when you go quantum, you have to be able to lose what you have to get what is your true self and your true life. Nobody else ever needs to get your boundaries. You do. Then you will know who represents your true self and true life and who doesn't. And I know that this process can seem like the scariest journey of your life, but I can't tell you the graduation, expansion, joy, power, and life force that awaits you on the other side of this. Do you realize that there is a way out of this? Are you ready to be able to stand up, lose these fears, state and walk your truth and generate it powerfully, regardless of what anybody else is or isn't doing? Can you feel how this is the place where true freedom, power, and life begins? I hope so, because it does. And you can start connecting to this powerful, fast, and joyous journey of your true life here by clicking the link at the top right of this video. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe so that you'll be notified as soon as each new one is released. And if you like this, click like. Also, please share with your communities so that we can help people awaken to these truths. And as always, I'm greatly looking forward to answering your comments and your questions below. So until next time, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.